Hey everyone, John here. I've got a 1/350th scale King Gidrah from Bandai. Yes, I said Gidrah, not Ghidora, because that's how it's spelled. Apparently there was a name change somewhere along the way. I'm not sure where. I haven't done my history on that, but it says King Gidrah. I've always grown up saying Gidrah. So when I started hearing Ghidora, it was a little bit different for me. But I had this model when I was a kid. Well, not a kid, a little bit young adult. It's basically circa 1990s. I want to say early 90s, I believe. But yeah, huge wingspan on this thing. Beautiful model. Lots and lots of seam lines. I'm not sure if you've followed the shorts or the posts I put in the community tab. There are so many seams on here that they even give their own idea on how to fill in those seams using putty and a plastic rod. So yeah, everything is in Japanese, so I resorted to Google Translate. And yeah, I was not disappointed. That hair on Gidrah, that mane, I'd always wondered what that was when I was growing up. It's just cotton. I looked it up on Google Translate, and yeah, they say use cotton. And there's a spot on the bottom of there where it shows you filling in the seam lines using putty, and like I said, just a square rod cut cleanly, and then you just poke the putty with the rod to give it that scale effect.
Bruh.
Yeah, that's what it translates to, bra rod. But you can see where it's translated above a little bit. If you pause the video, you can read what it says there. Basically, it's just saying what I just went ahead and told you. Okay, for the next sections, yeah, these were, I remember them from when I was younger, putting this model together, and back then I didn't take care of seam lines or anything like that. So I just decided I'm going to try my own idea here. First off, I sanded down the ones on the inside of the neck, and then I've got it's a substance that normally it's blue. It's called blue stuff. You put in some warm water, which softens it up, and then what you can do is you can take a little piece of it and press it up against your part to make basically a reverse mold there. And what I'm doing is I'm just putting on the side of the neck piece here, and I'm going to squeeze that down and try and get as much of the texture as I can. I probably should have went ahead and let it cool first before just pulling it right off, but live and learn. It's the first time I tried it, and it works great. Later on, I find that I'm just actually using way too much green stuff when I'm actually filling in those gaps. But it's a technique that I'm going to use again in the future. Whatever model I find that I could use it on, I will. I mean, maybe it'll be a great unclean one. I'm not sure, but we'll take a look at it. But yep, here we go. We're doing some larger scales, some smaller scales. Just want to get enough texture on there so I can just mimic that scale pattern when I fill in the seam lines. And we're filling those in, like I said, green stuff. I'm just rolling that out. And yeah, I probably used way too much on some of these areas. I probably could have went with, I'd say, half the amount I'm using right here, because once I actually press that blue stuff or blue stuff like substance onto the green stuff itself, I really have to feather it in to try and make it basically blend in as much as I can. And there's a few times where I actually just tore it right off and started again from scratch. It did work though. It's a technique that, like I said, I will use again in the future, and I'm glad I got a chance to try it out here. It basically just came from that instruction manual, just the way they say you can mimic the scale pattern. So it was pretty cool. Like I said right there, just blending those in, and there's a couple spots there that they're not as pronounced, but I go back and I just kind of blend it in with that mold again, just to get some more definition on those scales. And I found that, yeah, you don't want to try to do both sides at the same time, because you're going to ruin one side while you're doing the other. And I learned that early on. I won't be doing that like that again. So it worked. Now, the one thing I hate to say is the fact that because I had to do so much seam filling on this model and blending in like that, and yeah, just experimenting on my own, this model is, at the time of recording this voiceover, still not done. So I have to do it in 2 parts. I hate doing 2-part videos, but if it shows like the entire process, I'm okay with it. I'm just not a fan of multi-part videos. I know it happens, but I mean, I really don't want you sitting here for 3 hours watching a video. So in the meantime, I'm splitting this up. I believe I get to just around the base, or no, it's just the priming on most of it. But yeah, like I said, it's so much fun. I had this, like I said, I had this model when I was younger. It went the way of all things, and you can see, oh, look at all that green stuff. I could have had like half the amount on there, but I think I've got some pieces of this still lying around in my garage somewhere. But yeah, fun kit, big model. I mean, the wingspan is huge on this thing. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but it's pretty big. And then just really fun to put together. And then there's a part in here later on where in the instructions they say how to use cotton balls to make that mane. I do something a little bit different. So yep, there you go. It's not the best, not 100% accuracy there, but better than I could have done just on my own with trying to use tools. Hey, so at this point in time, I'd like to thank all of the new subscribers who've joined us since the last video. I really appreciate it. I mean, we're getting so close to a milestone, and I'm still having so much fun with this. I've got so many things that I want to do. I just don't have the time to do it all. So I'm going to try and get some videos out quicker and try and make more time for everything and get more content out to you, because without everyone out there hitting that subscribe button, it wouldn't motivate me as much as it does. But yeah, thank you so much. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe. Like I said, this is actually starting to turn into a dream come true with this channel. So it's just so much fun, and I love and adore getting content out to everyone. So all right, I'm getting sappy here, so let's get back to the model. Putting together the heads of Gidrah. Yes, I said Gidrah. And I've got some green stuff on the inside just to give some texture to the inside of the mouth, because if you saw it before, you saw that's very flat on the inside. And I've got a special little idea of what I want to do with this before it's completely finished, and it involves lightning bolts. Okay, here's one idea that I had for covering up those seam lines on the inside of the front of the neck. I just decided to try some bands, and I went with every other section. I just was afraid that if I did every section like all together, it would just blend together and it would be one big mess. I only did that on this one here as I'm bringing up my lunch, and I ended up going with this method instead. I took a thin little worm of green stuff, put it right in the center there, wet it down with some just tap water, and after I got that as flat as I could, I just used one of these sculpting tools just to try and blend it in as best I could. It's not perfect. I think a lot of the paint job will hide some of the imperfections on there, but it's way better than it was. So yeah, I'm just using regular green stuff, and I'm also using liquid green stuff too. There's a couple spots where I use that. All right, big parts of the body there, and yep, because they're big pieces of plastic, I'm using the trusty old reliable yellow orange tube of Testor's cement. So I'm going to cement these parts together, and I'm just going to take some painter's tape and wrap it up so they cure together. But yep, he's huge. It's a big chunky boy. And I'm just wrapping up with some painter's tape. Let that cure up, and I'll come right back to it. Okay, again with the seam lines. By the end of all of these here, and I'm not even done. I still have to put the middle head on. I was so tired of this, but it does help. You see right there. Like I said, it's not perfect, but it's better than having that big gaping seam right down the middle. Now, as I'm doing this, I just remembered this is not the only Gidrah model I have. I think it was Aurora, or maybe Polar Lights. They reissued some old Godzilla models. I think I've had the Rodan model 3 or 4 times in my lifetime. They've got Rodan, they've got Gidrah here, or Ghidora. They've got, I think there is also a Godzilla. I'm not sure which one it is. These were, this group here was known as the Special Effects Collection. It had Gidrah, it had Godzilla that came with a little Mothra bug, but yeah, there's a lot of different ones out there. But moving on, I'm just trying a little bit of StyrylRes Black to see exactly like how that's going to affect with the green stuff. It's not going to be an all-over prime because I don't want to use up all my StyrylRes Black just for one model. I end up actually using just some Rust-Oleum cans, but I wanted to test the green stuff and see how well it did blend in. And some parts it worked well, some parts needed a little bit of help. But I'm glad I did it like this. And obviously when I start painting it, there's going to be a lot of dry brushing on this kit. You're going to see, you might see some of those seams, but I'm going to try and hide it as much as I can with the paint job. So it's not too bad. I think I did pretty good on that. Let me know in the comments. And be like, hey, dude, you suck. No. But yeah, we're coming along with this, and look at that. If it would focus. And I'm just trying to pick out some stuff here. But yeah, of course I had to use the StyrylRes Black, even though I didn't use it for the entire model, because I love using my StyrylRes Black. There it goes. Not too bad. And I knew from the get-go I wasn't going to be using the airbrush to prime this thing, because it's way too big. Now I will use the airbrush for some of the wing details, because the wings are huge, and I think I can get some nice vein effects in there. But getting close to it here. And there's that liquid green stuff right there. Just kind of blending it in with that. And then of course you get the seam lines on top of the neck pieces too, so yeah, I get those cleaned up. Yeah, this is I don't want to say early days for Bandai, but earlier than the type of Bandai kits that are produced today. I think if they were to retool this today, it'd be a beautifully easy model to put together without a lot of seam lines. And you're right there, just trying to blend in some of that actual green stuff with the liquid green stuff. By the time I got done with this, I was wondering, okay, did I just waste my time, or am I actually onto something? We'll see in the final reveal. And more green stuff. Like I said, this model was like so many seam lines. I didn't want to, like I said, I didn't want to just forget about it and just paint over it. But I did want to see if my little technique was viable, and I think it was. And maybe I could have went back and gotten some fresher molds, but I think it worked out okay. Yes, that was Sasha, my Siberian Husky. She's getting up there and she's having some problems with her back legs. I'm not sure if it's hip dysplasia or just arthritis or joint issues, but she's getting to the point where she needs to, you need to be with her or else she lets you know about it. So I moved everything up to my kitchen table, and yeah, it's a big mess, but what's life without mess sometimes? Okay, there's the green stuff, the liquid green stuff over the body. That's coming along. And then some more of the orange tube, the old reliable. And just going to start piecing this thing together, if I can talk. It's an easy model. It's just, if you really want to make this thing look nice, it takes a good amount of work. And then, of course, after those tail pieces get put together, guess what I have to do? Fill in those seams. So yeah, it took a while. Okay, and then that is just with some flat black spray paint. I think it's Rust-Oleum. Like I said, I wasn't about to use all my Stynylrez black on a big model like this. I love it, but it's pricey. Okay, and then we got some hairs that we're putting in for the mane. I didn't use cotton buds. I just took, or cotton balls. I took some garden twine and I unraveled it, cut it into lengths, and I just started one by one, just super gluing all of it together. And then this happened. Oops. Yeah. Yeah, when you use super glue, it's nice to have a bottle of debonder because it happens. Yeah, that's it's been a while since I glued my fingertips together, but after a little bit of working, there you go. Okay, so I know this looks rough. I know it looks really rough, but trust me, it comes out looking really cool. Basically, just got to clean this up afterwards. I just had to wait for all that glue to dry. And we're just going to give him a haircut and just do a little bit of styling. I still want it to look a little scraggly, but I don't want to just rely on that molded hair on the heads. There we go. I'm really enjoying this. It looks really cool. And then even after it's been painted, it still comes out looking nice. There we go. Some styling. Alright, now I still have to, that's like the second batch of hair that I started adding onto there. Now I'm fitting him with putting a hole in his inside of his mouth, using my wow stick right there because I don't want to use don't want to use a hand drill because it's going to take too long, and I don't want to use a Dremel because it's going to tear apart the plastic. So I've got one of these wow sticks. Good investment. Really good addition to the arsenal there. And I'm just fitting it with some 0.05 millimeter brass rod, and that's going to be eventually used for the lightning strikes that are coming out of his mouth. And there he is, primed with some black. I'm still missing the lower jaws, which I have to do work on. Looking good there. Okay, so we're nearing the end of part 1 here. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. I really appreciate you joining me on this this journey here. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and enjoy. And we'll have part 2 coming up as soon as I can. Okay, thanks for watching. Hey, if you like the video, check out the selection on the left-hand side and subscribe on the right. And thanks again for watching. I appreciate it. Take care.